Hello. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Let me make sure it's working. Let's make sure our stream is live. Let's see here. Oh, it is. Okay. I always forget there's ads on this. Okay, I think it's live. I think it's working. Can you hear me? Oh, no. Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay? Yes, okay. Just making sure. You never know with this microphone. Hi guys, how is everybody? Hello, welcome to book club. How's everyone doing on this Sunday day? Are you guys having a good weekend so far? I'm really excited for this book club and to discuss The Monk with you guys. Did everybody read The Monk? Did you guys all read it? Or are you just here to hang out? Either way is totally fine. Oh, yeah. The heat is slowly destroying my will to live. Yeah, I understand that. Welcome! It's your first time at book club? I'm so excited. Nice. Yeah, I finished it not that long ago either. It took me a little while to read. I'm not gonna lie. It took me a little while to read. Okay, so let me I'm gonna see if this works really quick. How did I do that again? Oh yeah. So if I click this guy, can you guys still hear me? Wait. Oh yeah, okay. No, it is working. Can you guys still hear me when I do this? Okay, you can. And you guys can see it, right? It's coming up the categories and everything. Cool. Okay. I just had to. Brian's waiting for me in the other room because I was like, wait, I know I'm going to mess this up and it's not going to work. Bri? Yeah. It's working. You're good. Thank you. Okay. I'm glad that you guys are all here. I'm very excited for book club today. Yeah, that's fair. It took me a really long time to finish it, and that's even why, and we even pushed book club back a few weeks, and I still just finished, so I totally get it. It's a little bit different than the books that we normally pick, so. Morty, what part are you at?
And you want tea leaf or you want boba?
Well, if you're going now, I'm trying to tell you, if you're going now, tea leaf.
Okay.
But if you wait until I'm off, we can get boba. But Bri, are you going anywhere else or are you just going there?
Just going there.
Then take Mar with you.
I'm hopping in my car.
Why don't you just take my car?
Because I have to get it anyway.
We can get it tonight. Brian, it's 100 degrees. Don't walk to your car.
Alright. Come on, Mark.
Okay, sorry. Trying to get Brian to take Marlo because she's like, the heat is killing her too, and we can't really. She hasn't been going on like super long walks or anything, and I can tell she's getting a little stir crazy in the house. So I'm like, take the dog. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yes, Niles Crane is with us today. Thank you, thank you. I am doing pretty good. Can't complain today. Hi, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so I think the category for this month was body horror. I think. Do you guys remember? Because that's the one that I got rid of from the list. So I'm pretty sure it was body horror, but I could be wrong. And I don't remember the other. Actually, maybe I do have the other selections for this month. Let me see. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Man, this was a while ago. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't have them. Was it body horror? Okay, yeah. Oh no, maybe you're right. Shit. No, the 52 Fingers was women's horror or something. It was horror written by a woman, right? I think. So I think, yeah, I think this week or this month's was body horror. So, guys, what how did you feel about The Monk? Or should we roll for next month before we even get into it? Maybe we should spin first and then so you guys know for next month so you can start thinking of selections for next month. Spin the wheel. Okay. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? I shall film it to put on Instagram so they know what it is. Okay. So this will be for, what are we, July? So this will be August book club category. Okay. Okay, so here's our August book club category. We're gonna shuffle and let's see what we end up with. Oh, Anne Rice. That one? Anne Rice, guys. That's she's got some long books. It is a good category, but she's got some long books. Okay. She's good to start getting ready for spooky season, like Halloween time. Richard. Okay, cool. So we get to blame Richard again if we don't like the book. It's always your fault, Richard, no matter what. No, it's a good category. I actually, you know what? I started reading one of her books. I didn't even finish it because it was so long. But I did really enjoy what I had read. It's fine. It's all good. I just might, if it's a super long book, I might listen to it on Audible maybe instead of read it. I haven't read, yeah, so I haven't read pretty much anything from her. I don't even remember which book I started from her. But it's good to get, we're getting into spooky season. I saw a post the other day that said only 10 Sundays left till Christmas or Halloween. Something like that. It's got to be more than 10, right? Oh, maybe not. No, yeah. 15, I don't know. But anyways, it's coming up. So it's a good category. We just might pick a long one, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The Witching Hour, that's the one I started. That's when I started that I didn't finish. It was really good. And if we need more time, we don't have to meet in exactly a week, you know, or a month. We can push it back a little if we need more time, if it's a longer book. So, yeah, it's definitely a long one. But I think she has shorter ones too. I don't think all of her books are 1,000 pages. I don't think. But I guess I'm no expert, so maybe they are. I don't know. We'll figure it out though. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you did! Let me know what you think. Honestly, Gravity was more gory than most horror books that I read. It was pretty it's pretty nasty, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, Mosley? Mosley? Hold on, let me make sure Mosley's not getting up to no good. Mose? Oh. Oh, I thought I heard him outside of the room and he's sitting under my feet the whole time. Sorry, bud. Sorry. That must be the cat summoning demons or something. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, so generally, guys, before we get into the all the details, what did you guys think about the monk? And also, I feel like this is going to be a different sort of book club. Usually, when I'm reading books, I have like a lot of questions and we can analyze things a little further. This one, I feel like it's going to be a little bit different because I don't know. I feel like it's. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there wasn't too much under the surface. It was a pretty like straightforward read, all things considering, you know? But did you guys enjoy The Monk? Nat, were you so excited to finally read it? That one has been on, I think, almost every book club list in quite a few months, so. Oh! You're right, Richard. I did read The Mummy. You're absolutely right. I totally forgot about that. Yes. The second part of the book, holy shit. I was reading it, I'm like, geez, oh my gosh, holy crap. Just every page. I really liked it too. And yes, this was, now I understand why this is on a lot of lists for horror books. Because I kept seeing it. That's why I picked it up because it kept being on like list of disturbing books. And the first half of the book, I'm like, this isn't really disturbing. And then you get to the second half and you're like, holy shit. But yes, I actually really enjoyed it too. Oh, okay. You're in for a ride, let me tell you. I would say what is it, three parts? The first, most of the book is like fairly mild, and then you get to the second half and you're like, oh, where is my book? I should have it because shit, where did I put that? Because I have quotes and stuff to read. Let me try to find this book. Wow. Where the heck is my book? Oh, it's probably, Brian probably moved it. I think it's over here. Yeah. Okay. We found it. We're good. All right. It's definitely not, all body horror the way that some are. I feel like it's more of a combination of kind of a bunch of subgenres put together. I know. I know. And so funny that he starts the book writing a poem and being like, hey guys, I'm young. Can you maybe not talk shit about my book? I thought that was really funny. Yeah, I figured this one wouldn't be for everyone. And also, I mean, when was this published? Like 17 something? Yeah, 1796. So definitely won't be a book for everyone. And it's not really one of those books where every single word matters, Like he does kind of ramble a bit. So I can totally see why. But yes, the second part was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, I enjoyed the writing too. Yeah, it wasn't as dense as I would have thought that it would be. It was just more long winded, I would say. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because I have questions about that part too. Oh, I don't know either. I know that it went through a lot of different stages where people were trying to, change this and change that and make it more like appropriate, but yeah, the body horror was definitely more quiet. It wasn't it wasn't like crazy like you were saying the thing sort of body horror. That's all good. That's all good. We will, start from the beginning and talk about it, but that doesn't mean that, there won't be spoilers throughout. So, yes. Okay. So, we'll give kind of like a synopsis as we go through because so much happens in this book. And like I said, I feel like this is going to be kind of a different book club than other books. I don't know, maybe you guys felt different and you guys had like a lot of philosophical questions related to it, but I felt like it was pretty obvious, what the writer was trying to get through. It didn't feel very metaphorical. It felt very like, in your face. But anyway, okay, so where do we begin? Oh yeah, with the poem where he's like, "Hey guys, be nice. I'm just a young kid and I'm writing the story." I thought that poem was really funny. Okay, so we start off. You know what? There is going to be a spoiler pretty soon. So if you haven't finished it and you want to finish it, just know that we'll be giving spoilers because I do have a question that pertains to the end of the book. But we start with the aunt and the niece going to church and they witness Ambrosio. And the girl, the niece, is kind of enamored with him at first. Did you guys know? I guess I won't give it away, but did you guys know from the very beginning the connection there? I don't know if it was obvious or if my footnotes made it obvious, but I feel like, or maybe your guys' footnotes told you from the beginning. I don't know. Man, I always leave my bookmarks in. Yes, it did. A lot of it did feel like a Shakespeare tragedy, or I guess a combination of different things because sometimes it was funny, sometimes it was tragic. There's a lot going on. And obviously, I mean, he definitely did take a lot of inspiration from Shakespeare. As he did quote Shakespeare a lot throughout the book. Oh, really? Okay, maybe it was my edition and my footnotes that gave it away. I can't remember if I knew from the beginning or if it was the footnotes. But the second they introduced them, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what's going on here. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so this is where, so Antonia is the niece. She gets introduced to Lorenzo, and it's so funny in these older books how a man and a woman are introduced, and immediately they're like, I'm gonna marry that person. It's crazy. I don't know if it's because everyone only lived till 30 or what, and you just had to pick someone. I don't know, but it's so funny to me how these people just see someone and they're like, I'm gonna marry that guy or that girl. Okay, and then the aunt was really funny too when she was thinking that Lorenzo, right, Lorenzo's friend was hitting on her. She was pretty funny. I was kind of bummed that she wasn't in the book a little bit more because I did find her quite humorous. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. I think mine, yeah, it just said he was given up. Or you know what? I think it said given up in reference to the woman, because in the first chapter it goes into Antonia's mom's info and kind of how they ended up where they were. And I think that's where they talked about giving up as an infant. And then, yeah, she was so fun. But there's one character that I liked even more than her. And I'm like, I could read a whole freaking book about this person. So I'm excited to see if you guys liked any of the characters. Oh man, my zipper's down. Yes, Nat, how did you know? How did you know? Dude, she was my absolute favorite. She had me cracking up. I was dying. Every time she spoke, I was absolutely dying. I'm like, I could read an entire play of this woman. She was so good. I know, how crazy though. I always think about that kind of stuff when I'm reading older books. So here's the one thing that really surprised me. And maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. But, you know, in college and stuff, I took a John Milton class, I took a Shakespeare class, I took a 17th century literature class, like whatever. I've read a lot of like older works, you know? And it really surprised me how critical this writer was of Catholicism in my head, because I had read other works from people who like got exiled from what they wrote, or they got put in jail for what they wrote, or their books were taken away from the market. So it really surprised me that a book like this that was so critical of religion was just published and it was fine. I guess, you know, obviously it depends on location and time period and stuff like that. But did that surprise anybody else? I was very shocked by it. I'm like, oh, I had no idea that you could just criticize religion and get away with it. And also, it surprised me because I think of today, you know, obviously there are some people who are still very religious, but there's also a lot of people who aren't. And I guess I always just kind of assumed that most people were religious and that people didn't have criticisms of the church or certain things that were going on. And so it made me be like, oh, maybe we've people have always been like this, but they just couldn't outwardly speak about it the way that we can now. Yeah, there were some, I was surprised. There were some parts that I actually laughed at. Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, so maybe that's where I don't have as much knowledge, but it really surprised me. And yeah, like you were saying, the people that did write works that were more critical of things or talked about things. And I also think, because I remember I had a teacher in college who would talk about how they thought that John Milton was an atheist and they would teach classes about that. And so I thought it was more like, write an epic poem about Paradise Lost, but then Heaven was written as this, military operation, and that was sort of the criticism of religion, but it wasn't outward being like, I don't know. I just feel like this book was a freaking ahead of its time in a lot of ways. There's a lot of social commentary in here that he was just like, you're an idiot if you do this. I was like, damn, I just didn't realize it was so bluntly written at times. But yeah, maybe I just haven't found the works like that, but I was really surprised by it. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just had an idea of what writing was like, and it was just way different than I thought. Okay. Oh, yeah. No, see, guys, I said I think Ambrosio is da 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 the thing that gets. So I did write it in here. So it wasn't my footnotes. Okay. Um, then we get introduced to Ambrosio, who honestly, okay, just before we get into it, how did you guys feel about him when you first got introduced to him? Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I guess I really don't know the history of religion all that well. I have no idea what this means. Hello. Oh, okay. I think we're good. Hold on, let me double check that it didn't just. That was weird. It said something weird on my part. Maybe it didn't stop for you guys, but it said that it stopped streaming for me, so I just want to make sure we're still good. Okay, it did do that to you too. That was weird. I don't know why I did that. All right, well, hopefully it doesn't do that again because Brian is not here. And I do not know how to fix that. Okay, anyways, back to the monk. So, was there any part of you that liked him or respected him or didn't think anything negative of him when you were first introduced? Or did you, from the moment you were introduced to the character, did you not like him? I also feel like I didn't take the best notes on this either, so. You didn't like him from the beginning. Yeah. I felt like he kind of had a superiority complex from kind of the second we were introduced to him. He definitely felt like he was better than those around him. You were suspicious, yeah. Um, yeah, so I guess, yeah, and maybe I am missing some things too, because obviously I don't know much about religion, so there could be some religious aspects that I'm missing about it, but that's true. I guess if you can't ever leave your little monk house, I don't know what it's called, then yeah, you probably would have some. I wish I wrote down, because I just wrote he feels superior, but I didn't like highlight anything or write any. Oh, hello, Marilla, or write anything. But yeah, I did feel like he felt a little superior than everyone else. But I guess he's like, I haven't sinned and you guys all suck, so. Definitely self-righteous for sure. Yes, the demon has arrived, and she may have, well, actually, I was going to say she probably sold her soul, but I don't. I think she's always been a demon. I think she's like an actual demon that was just put into a little fluffy cat's body. It's the only thing that makes sense. Hello, welcome. Oh, Richard, I was just going to ask people when they were free. Like maybe next weekend. It seems like a few people were free next weekend, so I'm just going to see if everyone else is. And also, my dates for my friends book club keep getting. We're supposed to meet last weekend, then we're going to meet today, and now we're going to meet next week. It's just, we're all over the place, so. Yes, totally. Definitely all cats, but there is something particularly demonic about Morella. At least compared to the one other cat that I had. She's just a whole nother level of evil. But I love her, and I'm grateful that she's as evil as she is. The theme of the book? That is probably very true. Hello, baby demon. Morella extra liked this book because of the ending. She hopes that that's what happens to all of humanity. Is that what she is? Is she a tortie? I never know what she is because she's. I don't know, I just got her from the pound, so. Okay, yeah, we'll see if people are around for next weekend, and then we'll go from there, Marla. Yeah, my last cat was a I guess she was a ginger cat. She was a little orange tabby, like half. I don't know if that's a full tabby because she was white too, but she was a girl, and most tabbies are boys. Orange tabbies are boys. Actually, let me take a picture. What? Okay, I really don't know why it keeps doing that. We might just have to deal with it because Brian is not here. So if it goes out like that, I'll just stop talking for a second and then hopefully it restarts. But I will send a picture to my IT guy, aka my husband, and see if he knows what's going on. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. About monks and nuns falling in love and being punished. Yeah, for sure. I can. This book had to have inspired so many things. Yeah, I don't know. That's so weird. But hopefully, yeah, he does. Okay, so then we have our monk, and he's just like, "Ah, I'm the shit. I'm the coolest monk ever. You can't tempt me." And then we have Rosario, right? He's a monk that came in. He hides his face. He doesn't say anything to anyone. But then he reveals that he's actually a woman and he's in love with the monk. Dun dun dun. And at first, the monk is like, "Get away from me, you evil woman. I ain't hitting that." And I wrote here, like this is my notes kind of suck this time because I was so focused on paying attention to the text that I feel like I didn't take the best notes. But I wrote that oh, I guess it's either wait, is this no, that's her that replied that. So I don't know where I am. What am I talking about? Yeah, I don't know. My notes suck. So at first he's like, "You need to leave." And she's like, "But I'm in love with you." And he's like, "Girl, I'm a monk. We can't be together. You have to leave." And what happens? She agrees, and then he gets bit by a snake and almost dies? Is that what happens? Oh, that's spooky. So I don't remember exactly the order. Or does she say she's going to kill herself first? Because she says, "Either your hand guides me to paradise or my own dooms me to perdition." Is that after he gets bit? So maybe that's what it is. So they agree to part. He gets bit by a snake while picking a flower for her, and then he falls into almost death, and she ends up saving him somehow by sucking the poison out and falling ill herself. I don't know. Somewhere in there she says she's going to kill herself. I don't remember exactly how this part happened. But one of my notes was, "Why is everyone so damn dramatic?" Yeah, okay, maybe that's what happened. So then he falls ill. Matilda saves him, which is Rosario's name, like her real name. And then he comes to her bedside and he's like, "No, don't die." And then she's like, "I have to." And she's like, "If I can't be with you, I'll just kill myself." And he's like, "You can't do that, bro." Man, I wish I remember. I really did not take good notes on this part of the book, so I don't remember exactly in what order. But what ends up happening is he begs her to not off herself, and then she finds a way to get rid of the poison that she took out of the monk, and her way of doing that is by summoning a demon. This book, just saying it like this makes it sound like it's so weird, but it's not as weird as it sounds, or maybe it is, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, man. And at first I was like, this girl is a stage 5 clinger because she even has the monk is getting a portrait painted and she even goes to the guy that's painting the portrait and has it drawn in her likeness so that he subconsciously falls for her. You're back! Did you have a fun car ride? Did you have a fun car ride? She's so excited. So from the beginning, how did you guys feel about Rosario or Matilda? Like at first when you were first introduced to her, were you like, oh, she's just in love with a monk? Or did you get weird vibes from her from the beginning? See, that's what I was gonna say, is it feels like he goes off on a bunch of tangents and stuff. Like this whole, he picks a flower and gets bit and then this happens and then, but it could all be related to something that, especially religions. I have no idea of any religious stories. I don't know if that's a religious story or not. But there could be a lot of things I'm missing, is what I'm saying, especially on the religious aspect. Yes. Okay, yeah. And she does say she's gonna off herself, but I don't remember if that's before or after, whatever. And I don't even remember what happens to make him change his mind, if she's just on her deathbed and he's like, don't die, I feel bad, or I don't know. This monk is also a freaking horn dog, dude. My notes are so inappropriate. But from the beginning of being introduced to Matilda, did you guys feel like there was something off about her? Because I felt... I don't know. I guess at this point I just felt she was like very over dramatic. But then as the story went on and she does more and more stuff, I'm like, she might be the most evil character in the story. Like, obviously I blame the monk. I think he's just as evil because he actually does the deeds. But Matilda turns out to be... Well, we'll talk about just the first half now because obviously it's different. But I was like, this girl is evil. Hey, calm down. Sorry, Marlo's chasing my other dog around. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you. Did you see my text message?
Yeah.
What is... It keeps doing that. And it stops the stream and then that pops up.
I don't know.
Well, how do I fix it so it doesn't do it again?
I'd have to see what you were doing.
Worst IT guy ever.
I'd have to see what you were doing in that moment.
I'm doing this, and then it just does that.
No idea. Could be anything, I think. Could be something. I don't know. Come on.
Alright, thank you for my tea, good sir. He got a pop cup. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Oh. They're sharing a pup cup and Marlo is so aggressive, flings it everywhere, and then Mosley's like the calmest, sweetest. Oh my gosh, you guys are so cute. Okay, sorry. That is really interesting if that is true. I guess, what do you mean by the middle? Like, once she starts helping the monk with what he's doing, automatically I was like, this bitch is evil. So I'm not sure where that happened, because I think she does get pretty ruthless pretty quickly. So I did write some questions in here. Like I wrote, I wrote, "What do you think the book is trying to say about lust and temptation?" But I feel like all of the questions I asked like that are very obviously answered throughout the story. You know what I mean? I don't feel like there's really. Now the cat is cleaning up the mess that the dogs made. um, I don't think that there's really too much under the surface. It didn't feel like, you know? What I really liked about this book is how pervy it was, and you're reading kind of like 18, when was this? 1700s? You're reading their like 1700s horny talk. I thought it was so funny. Like he said, "I must for my enjoyment of your person." I just saw all their little quotes in here. There's also a quote where he has some dream where he's sleeping with Matilda or whatever, and then automatically he wakes up and he's like so ashamed of it. And I just thought it was funny to read these things through the lens of like, you know, 17 writing in the 1700s. Okay, yes, and then this does happen for. Okay, okay. Hello! Welcome to book club. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so then we have Lorenzo. He's walking about and he learns that his sister, who is in a convent, is writing a letter to his friend. What's the guy's name? Don Raymond? Is that the other guy's name? And then I wrote, and this dude goes off on an entire tangent about how he started doing Lorenzo's sister. So he meets, I think it's Don Raymond, no? Correct me if I'm wrong, if that's his name. So Lorenzo's like, "Hey, why are you writing love letters to my sister who's in a convent?" And then his friend's like, "Okay, come, I gotta tell you this whole story," right? So he tells the story about how he broke down, which also is just so funny picturing a carriage breaking down. I don't know why. But he breaks down and he ends up being brought to this guy's house to stay. And he learns that that guy and his sons are actually bandits in the woods. And so they're planning to kill them and take their money. And another woman from a nearby town is also there. So he has to try to save her too. So whatever, it's a whole long freaking story about how they get away from these bandits, right? And he saves this woman and he brings her back and they're like, "Yay, we escaped them," and all the bandits either get killed or go to jail. And so he starts staying with them for a little while and he meets Agnes, and she is Lorenzo's sister. Like, this is so complicated. She's Lorenzo's sister. So Agnes is staying with her aunt or something. And her aunt is the one that Don Raymond saved from the bandits. So he falls in love with Agnes, Lorenzo's sister. But her aunt, is in love with Don Raymond. So she's like, "Hey, you should get with me." And he's like, "First of all, you're married. And second of all, I want to do your daughter." Oh, you think so? See, I feel very differently because I feel like this text was very woman positive in a lot of ways, especially when it gets to Ambrosia. Yeah, like I feel like this writer was super ahead of his time. I feel like he did stand up for women in parts of the book. I feel like he wasn't criticizing religion, but he was criticizing people who use religion to shield who they really are. So I didn't read too much that I felt like he was outwardly criticizing women, but keep this in mind because this comes back up, and I have a question about this in a second. Because what ends up happening is he and Agnes make plans to run off together. Guys, this story gets so complicated. So they devise a whole plan, okay? There's someone called the Bleeding Nun, and she is an apparition that comes about and she scares people in the house. And so Agnes is like, I will dress as the Bleeding Nun, and then I can get out of the house and we can run away together, okay? So, first of all, Lorenzo, or not Lorenzo, is his name Don Raymond? I don't want to keep using the wrong name, but that guy, he kidnaps her, like, nurse lady? I don't know what you call him. He kidnaps someone from her house and puts her in a closet for like a week. I'm like, these guys are insane. And after that, he goes to pick up Agnes. And so he finds the woman dressed as the Bleeding Nun and he takes her away. But then he's actually steals the apparition of the Bleeding Nun. And so then he gets tormented by this Bleeding Nun who keeps waking him up and won't let him sleep in the middle of the night. And then he has to hire someone who has to come and get rid of the Bleeding Nun. And so I think this part is where it lost a lot of people. Did you guys feel like the story took a left-hand turn? Did you guys like this part of the story? Or did you just want to get back to the monk? Oh, yes. Yeah. That, I think, is one of my favorite parts of the book. And doesn't he kidnap someone else in the story too? He kidnaps someone when he tries to get her out of the convent later in the story. I'm like, this guy's just kidnapping people and keeping people in his closet. Like, what is happening? Times were probably very wild back then. I also like how the bandits were like, oh yeah, you guys should be careful in these woods. There are bandits about. And then they're all like winking at each other. Oh, so good. So good. But could you guys have lived without this portion of the story? Or were you more interested in the monk, or did you like kind of the little offshoots of different stories that the book had? He kidnaps the gardener. Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. Because this was definitely part of this, like a slower portion of the story. Oh, I forgot to say that the monk ends up sleeping with Matilda before this. Yeah. And with the monk in the first part of the story with the monk, it was more, I guess maybe not even fast pace is the right word, but things kept happening and you're like, is he going to sleep with her? Is he not going to sleep with her? What's going on? And then, yeah, we just go on this whole tangent with Raymond about, and it's so funny because I feel like the whole story, not the whole point, but the whole story he's telling Lorenzo is to be like, this is how I got your sister pregnant. But one sentence, you could have just said one sentence and we all know how it happened. But I think, right, okay. A side quest, okay. So at first I was like, wow, this has nothing to do with the monk. This is so interesting that they put this in here, you know? And I thought maybe it wraps up later. But then afterwards, I was thinking about it last night and I'm like, wait, maybe it does have something to do with the monk. So do you guys have any parallels between the stories or differences between the stories that you feel like made the story of Raymond, like that whole tangent of Raymond, make more sense as to why it was put in this story? Oh my god, that tea is so good. Because I felt the same way. I wasn't bored through it. I thought the bleeding nun was cool. And I was still interested in what was going on, but I did want to get back to the monk because I was so interested in what was going to happen with him and Matilda and what they were going to do. And my goodness, did that go in a way that I was not expecting. But at first I was like, oh, this is, maybe it's just an older story and they just have it there for no reason. It's just kind of to go off on its own tangent. But I actually do think that it was put there for a reason. But I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts on that. I lost all my animals. They all ditched me. How rude. Even the demon. Now I'm trying to think. Now I'm thinking more about the bleeding nun story too. Because what ended up happening with the nun was that, didn't someone murder her and so she had to be taken from her grave and put with her family or something? The bloody nun was in addition to the theme of people joining religion for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Being entered into it as a child led to them abandoning it later in an extreme way. Yeah, that's the one thing that I wasn't focused on because I was just so, I thought it was such a cool part of the story. It was just so, it was so creepy. But I was thinking of like as a whole that the story could be either, I don't know, I think you can look at it in different ways. I was thinking perhaps it could also be about leading someone to their demise or not having someone's best interest at hand. But then I was thinking, well, maybe it's to indicate what would happen if you don't follow temptation. So for example, the monk obviously follows Matilda into temptation. Raymond doesn't follow Agnes's mom into temptation, although he does still do that with Agnes. So I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I was thinking it would make sense if that was kind of the comparison because of how the monk ends up versus how Raymond and Agnes end up. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I fully got it fleshed out. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so then the nun has like pretty much identical to what ends up happening with the monk then. So that could also be it too, foreshadowing of just what's going to happen with the monk. But I did see some interesting kind of comparisons between those two stories and how the characters ended up and how Agnes and Raymond ended up versus the monk ended up. That's right. I forgot. She was talked into killing somebody, and then she ended up getting killed and then buried. And then wasn't she or the people who killed her somehow related to Raymond? And that's why she was haunting him, and he had to bury her in his family crypt or something like that. But that is very true. So the whole point of the story could be that as well, to kind of give you a foreshadowing to what happens with the monk. But yeah, I liked the bleeding nun story, and I thought it was so funny that Agnes is like, okay, I'm gonna dress up as this bleeding nun ghost that everyone's scared of, and then he ends up abducting a ghost. Great aunt. Okay. Well, that's how I felt reading it too. Throughout the whole book, I had no idea the one part to the next what was going to happen. It was very kind of all over the place. Not in a bad way, but that is a good point with the bleeding nun. But I don't know. Maybe there's also something like that for the bandits too, you know? I did like this book because I feel like although some tragedies happen and stuff, I do feel like the writer tried to sort of give everyone what they deserved in a lot of ways. Oh, and then I think we have description of the bleeding nun, do we not? Her countenance was long and haggard, her cheeks and lips were bloodless, the paleness of death was spread over her features, and her eyeballs fixed steadily upon me were lustreless and hollow. And I like this little poem that she says to him when she comes to visit him too. That part was spooky. I was like, dang, they could make a whole movie about this bleeding nun. Okay. Where are we? And who is speaking? Oh, and then the guy that comes to get rid of the nun, who is that guy? He just comes and he says some creepy shit and he just talks about how he can't die and stuff. Who is that guy? I totally forgot about that guy. I didn't think about him until right now. He says, "For I envy those who enjoy the quiet of the grave, but death eludes me and flies from my embrace." I feel like this, again, is going to be one of those books where I have to read it a few times to fully comprehend everything, you know? But yeah, I forgot about this guy, and he just can't die, and he's weird, and he just comes and gets rid of this ghost for Raymond. Who was he? Yeah, and that's kind of the first part. I think The Bleeding Nun is the first part where we get a little bit of gore mixed in here. Okay, so we did that. And eventually we find that Raymond has knocked up Agnes. She's at a convent, was sent away to a convent, and he's trying to break her out. And so they're passing letters back and forth. And does this happen before or after? So then we go back to the monk, and he's thinking about how he's getting it on with Matilda. And he's trying to, something I find interesting about the monk is no matter what he does throughout the entire story, he's constantly trying to make excuses for his actions. Blame it on other people, or just not take any responsibility for anything that he's done. This man cannot take responsibility at all. But it's interesting, he's kind of contemplating what he's done, and he says, unnatural were your vows of celibacy. Man was not created for such a state, and were love a crime, God never would have made it so sweet, so irresistible. So even at this moment, he's blaming God for making, temptation so, or, love, as he puts it, so sweet, so irresistible, instead of feeling any sort of remorse for his crime, because he's a monk and he's sleeping with a woman. Obviously, I don't think sleeping with someone is a crime, but you get what I'm saying. And then when that doesn't work, he starts to blame Matilda. Yeah, I said 193 and then I didn't highlight anything. Oh, is this when they first sleep together? Maybe they don't sleep together until after he tells that whole story. Raymond tells that whole story. Yeah, you know what? He doesn't, because he ends up finding the letter that Agnes was holding from Raymond saying like, hey, you're pregnant with my baby. I want to break you out of the convent. And he ends up telling the head nun, who is very strict and wants to punish her. And he feels, again, no remorse for what he's done until... Yes. He's alluded to being the wandering Jew to the eternal Jew, who is said to have been a man who taunted Jesus on his way to crucifixion and was cursed to wander the earth until Jesus' second coming. Yeah, okay, see, that's another thing. I feel like there's so much religious stuff that I feel like I'm just never going to be able to get, So, is he good guy, bad guy? What's his story? If he taunted Jesus, does that make him a bad guy, or I don't know. I just wrote you guys, my notes are so all over the place. I wrote, moral of the story, people be horny no matter what year they were born. Well. This is where I started to hate Matilda. So he learns that the nuns are going to punish her brutally. And he's like, ooh, I should say something because, whoopsie, I slept with someone too. I guess it's not that hard to fuck up and make mistakes, And so he's like, oh, I should step forward and get in the way and be like, hey, don't do anything too harsh to her. And then Matilda says, beware of what you do. Your sudden change of sentiment may naturally cause surprise or create surprise and may give birth to suspicion. And then she says, abandon the nun to her fate. Your interfering might be dangerous, and her imprudence merits to be punished. She says, she is unworthy to enjoy love's pleasure who has not wit enough to conceal it. From this line, I was like, oh, fuck this bitch. This right here is when I started seeing, so I don't know about Matilda. I mean, maybe he changed what Matilda was going to turn into, but I think she was always destined to be a bad person. But I guess this is technically halfway through the book. So I don't know. From this line on, I was like, ooh, I don't like her. I even wrote, Matilda's a little cunt. And so she's telling him this stuff, right? Hey, the nuns might get suspicious if all of a sudden, you know, you've been so hard on everybody and so caught up in being a monk that all of a sudden you change your mind. And sure, she says it in an asshole way that basically she deserves her punishment for not hiding it well enough. But then the monk goes on this whole thing saying that he was surprised at the sudden change in Matilda's characters and sentiment, but a few days passed since she appeared the mildest and softest of her sex, devoted to his will and looking up to him as a superior being. Now she asserted a sort of courage and manliness. In her manners and discourse. He said, every moment convinced him of the astonishing power of her mind, but what she gained in opinion of the man, she lost with interest in the affection of his lover. So by her taking any sort of assertive thought, he's like, ew, she's too manly. Before she went along with everything that I said, now she wants to be in control, and all of a sudden he's turned off by her. This character is such a fuckhead. You guys, I might hate the monk worse, and Matilda, well, the monk, worse than I've hated any character in history. I think he might be the worst character. Do you guys think so? Of any book that I've read, I think I might have hated him the worst. See, I don't even know what that means. Oh, ordered his crucifixion, so by association not. Oh, interesting. See, and that's so freaking interesting too, because if he's seen as not a good guy, but then he's the one that saves Raymond in the book, it's just the critiques on religion are so interesting in this. Right? I think so. I do. Yeah. Heathcliff is like, you know, he's a piece of shit. But the monk, I think I do. I think I prefer Heathcliff. If I had to live with one of them, I think I would pick Heathcliff. I mean, like, oh God, hold on, let me think about this. No, I think so, because Heathcliff's, I mean, he spends his entire life trying to destroy other people. Like, I think he is truly an evil human. But the monk's superiority and inability to take accountability and blame everyone else for anything that he has done, I don't know. I hate this man. I fucking hate him. No, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I hate him more. I just remember what happens in the other part of the book. Yes. I do hate him more. But yeah, I just thought it was so disgusting that he sleeps with Matilda and he's so obsessed with her. And then the moment she has any ideas of her own and she isn't just at his will, he's like, ew, I don't want you anymore. I think that tells you all you need to know about his character. I know. I know, and I thought about it too. I'm like, no, yeah, he's worse than Heathcliff. He is. He's just a freaking loser. He's such a loser. Okay, so what else does he say? Yeah, he regretted Rosario, the fond, the gentle, the submissive. He's not even looking for, that's another point of this whole book. He's not looking for a woman to fall in love with or even someone to use for his own lust and desires. He's looking for someone that he is superior to. He has such a superiority complex throughout this whole book. Ugh, it makes me despise him. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Once she wasn't just, because from the beginning, he's like, we can't see each other. Okay, okay, I'll do whatever you want. And then she's like, I'm just gonna, take my own life. And he's like, no, don't do that. And she's like, okay, I won't. And then the second she has any sort of idea that differs from his, he's like, you're too manly for me. Oh, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up. And that's also why I do think that this is a commentary on just kind of like how women were treated in this time period as well. And I feel like the writer was I feel like he does stand up for women in this book more so than I've seen in older works. I was actually surprised by a few of the comments that I saw in here. He grieved that Matilda preferred the virtues of his sex to those of her own, and when he thought of her expressions, respecting the devoted nuns, he could not help blaming them as cruel and unfeminine. Bitch, shut up. Pity is a sentiment so natural, so appropriate to the female character that it is scarcely a merit for women to possess, but to be without it is a grievous crime. Okay, you fucking loser. And then she tells him, did I write notes on this? Oh, okay, yeah. So she's still, the reason why they went into, I think they go into the crypt for her to raise the demon because she drank the poison from him to get rid of the poison so she can live. And then I just wrote that this is the 1700s version of Hit It and Quit It. It's just so funny reading these like lines about this stuff written in, this flowery way. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we'll see you at the next one. Okay, and then he's like, hey, what did you do in there? And she says that she can't tell him. Your mind is enslaved by the prejudices of your education, and superstition might make you shudder at the idea of which experience has taught me to prize and value. Obviously, we know what that ends up being, but for right now, we don't know. Oh, yeah, okay, so this is what I think this is the line that I said that was the 1700s version of Hit It and Quit It. It says, the delirium of passion being past, he had leisure to observe every trifling defect. Oh my god. The monk got post-nut clarity, guys. I just thought this was so funny. This book, the whole time reading it, I'm like, nothing has changed. I keep reading these older books and I'm just like, people have always been and always will be the same. I would just make commentary the whole time. I'd be like, this guy's a fucking asshole. Yeah. This guy fucking sucks, dude. He sucks. The monk was glutted with the fullness of pleasure, but the moment of passion was over. He quitted her with disgust. As her passion grew ardent, Ambrosio's grew cold. He was led to her arms not by love, but the cravings of a brutal appetite. His education had impressed his mind with fear so strongly that apprehension had now become a part of his character. So yeah, I think it's funny that after everything, not only is he like, oh, okay, I made a mistake, but he's like, you disgust me. That's so crazy. And maybe we get a little bit of his backstory here that does make you, I don't know, maybe feel a little bit sorry for him, where it says he was taught to consider compassion for the error of others as a crime of the blackest dye. The noble frankness of his temper was exchanged for servile humanity, and in order to break his natural spirit, the monks terrified his young mind by placing before him all the horrors with his superstition which superstition could furnish him. They painted to him the torments of the damned in colors the most dark, terrible, and fantastic, and threatened him at the slightest fault with eternal perdition. So, I mean, maybe at the end of the day, the comment isn't on the monk himself, but on the dangers of, and this is another thing too, because I think that this topic comes up a lot in horror in general. I really don't think that this book is criticizing religion, like your religious connection to whatever being that is. I think it's criticizing organized religion. And I think that's what horror is really good at doing. And so maybe this is a topic on a comment on a bigger topic than just the monk. And you could look at how he was raised and be like, okay, yeah, imagine what that would do to a person if they were, I mean, look at all the religious trauma that happens nowadays. But imagine in the 1700s, somebody coming in and being put into a monastery? Is that what monks are in? And being told, any crime that you commit, you're going to burn in hell for eternity. I can't imagine what that would do to a kid. So, I don't know. Maybe the comment is on a bigger topic, but man, is the monk a representation of everything that's wrong? And I despise him. I hate him. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, if you don't mind me interrupting the book with my comments. Yeah, I have a hard time. I understand, again, like, I get what you're saying. I understand that Heathcliff had a tough raise, so I'm not saying that, but I also think that people were raised horribly and cannot be awful people. You know what I mean? But yes, exactly. Ambrosio is just so pathetic. So pathetic. He is just everything that I hate about not men as a whole. Like, I don't hate men, but I'm saying like the bad qualities of men is put into this one character, and it's hard to not despise him. So, yes. Right. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it is a bigger topic on kind of organized religion and what that does to people. And again, like going back to the topics of horror, I think a lot of the times organized religion, it's the dangers of somebody taking whatever religion, I think this is Catholicism, right? Whatever religion, and twisting and turning it to manipulate it into their own sentiments. And that's what's dangerous. So, like, I don't know. I haven't read the Bible or anything, but I'm pretty sure it's not like, hey, you should torture young children to be terrified of me. So, yes, exactly. She's not a good one, that's for sure. She's definitely not a good one. I haven't read that book in a while, though, in a few years. Yeah, so, okay, so then this was kind of one of the other questions I asked. Do you think the temptation of the monk is the issue in this book, or was it how he was raised? Is this character a bad guy because he was born a bad guy, or is he a bad guy because he's been repressed and tormented his whole life? I don't know. Maybe we can find a little bit of sympathy for him, but here's my thing. I think it's okay to have sympathy for people, like even Heathcliff. I think it's okay to have sympathy for him, but I don't think it's okay to take your shit out on other people. That's the problem. Exactly. Exactly. You just took the words out of my mouth. You can't. Hold on. I'm gonna turn up the air. It's kind of cold in here. I forgot last night I turned the air down super cold because I couldn't sleep. But now it's like kind of freezing in here. But yes, exactly. You can't weaponize religion. And same with this stuff. Like, you can experience horrific, awful, tragic, traumatizing things, and people can sympathize with that. But when you use that to destroy someone else, that's when it becomes a problem. Yeah, what an interesting. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of interesting topics in here that I was really surprised by the by what I found. Because, like I said, I have read other texts before, but I don't know. And I thought from this time period, but I guess location, it's dependent on location too. But I was just surprised at the just outward critique of religion and it not being masked and it not being a metaphor like some people can see in Paradise Lost or whatever, but just blatantly like, hey, religion can be really dangerous. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I definitely pulled something in my arm. But yeah, I don't know if it's the temptation that's the issue or if it was his raise. I don't know. And maybe at the end of the day, it is too just people are people, and whether you are a monk in a monastery or a guy walking down the street who's never been religious, you can be a good or a bad person. Having that veil of religion to cover you does not make you a good person, and I think that's very evident, especially nowadays. It's so funny. It's not funny at all. But seeing people use their religion, a book that tells them to be there for their neighbor and help anybody who's in need and, all of these things, and they use that to just spew hatred. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I think that this book, I really liked the connection I felt with this book to this time period of religion. Being religious doesn't just make you a good person. You can be a really horrific person and be religious. Ambrosio shows us that. And also, just because you're religious, it doesn't mean you're a bad person either. It's not criticizing religion as a whole. You know what I mean? Yes, exactly, exactly. Or if you have a kid and you overprotect the kid and then they get this much freedom, they go crazy. Yeah, you totally see that with him here. And that's the thing is I don't even think it would be that crazy if he figured these things out on his own, but his inability to blame or his inability to blame himself and just take it out on everyone around him is crazy. Yeah, 100%, 100%. And especially because he's held in such high regard to other people, I think he definitely has an ego for that too. Oh yeah, okay. What did I write? Oh yeah, that's what you said. His real and acquired character. Um, Dude, I didn't highlight anything. Okay, one second. I'm gonna have to try to find what I was. He continued to be the admiration of Madrid. The enthusiasm created by his eloquence seemed rather to increase than diminish every Thursday. Okay, this isn't about which he appeared. Blah, blah, blah. This is just talking about how everybody's obsessed with him. So where was I talking about? I don't know. Maybe it was when I... Oh, 209. I'm on the wrong page. What a moron. Okay. This is what I highlighted. Matilda gluts me with enjoyment, even to loathing, forces me to her arms, and glories in her prostitution. Disgusting. Did she know the inexpressible charm of modesty? How irresistible it enthralls the heart of man. How firmly it chains him to the throne of beauty. She never would have thrown it off. Yes, if there was a perfect bliss on earth, 'tis his lot alone would become the angel's husband. Okay, so this is dude, I was so disgusted by this part. I wrote, this could be a man who has a podcast in 2006. You know those men who talk about how it's okay for men to sleep around and they can sleep around and it doesn't matter, but if a woman sleeps around, then they're disgusting. And I'm like, who are you sleeping with then? What do you mean? This is exactly his idea. He's talking about how Matilda, because she was so forceful and pushing herself on him and so obsessed with him and stuff, she disgusts him. And then he meets, what's her name? Ambrosio. Antonia. And she's this sweet, demure, what a woman's supposed to be, right? And so she's who he wants now, because she's not all over him and obsessed with him and trying to get him in bed. I'm like, is this not what's happening now? It's crazy. It's insane. Yeah, for sure, he has to be a narcissist, right? I know, right? He's almost there. He's almost there. You're like, okay, maybe you have. That's what my husband asked at the end. He's like, oh, did he have any sort of character arc in the story? I'm like, no, he didn't. Maybe at the end he could repent for what he did and actually be like, I'm gonna take accountability. No, nope. But yeah, I read this line and I'm like, this is one of those disgusting men podcasts in 2026. And then he wrote, it says, his only reason for despising her was that she loved him much too well. Yeah. I just fucking hate this guy, dude. I hate him. Oh yeah, this is what you were talking about, I think, for Elvira. How I think it was Ambrosia, or no, Antonia was talking to her mom Elvira and talking about, the myth around Ambrosio, this monk that just kind of showed up at the monastery. And then it said he was put into the abbey quite a child. The common people say that he fell from heaven. And then her mom says yeah. And so he fell from heaven, Antonia? He must have had a terrible tumble. I cracked up more in this book than I have in most books that I read. Like, it was pretty funny. Okay, so what am I missing, guys? He meets Antonia. He's obsessed with her. He's trying to get closer to her. And at the same time, the nuns are torturing Agnes. Lorenzo is trying to get her out of the convent. And so he gets a letter from some guy to get her out. And and then as soon as he brings the letter, the head nun's like, oh, sorry, she died. You can't get her out. Raymond falls into despair. I think it's so freaking funny and dramatic when anything bad happens in these older time periods and everyone's just in bed sick. Like, oh. Everyone's so dramatic. Um, is this about, are they talking about the Bible? Yeah, comments on the Bible. Many of the narratives can only tend to excite ideas in the worst calculated for women. So it's talking about how women shouldn't read the Bible. Everything is called plainly and roundly by its name. This is a book which young women are recommended to study, which is put in the hands of children. Yeah, so I think this is, it seems like the writer's kind of ideology on religion in general. This book, which young women are recommended to study, which is put into the hands of children, able to comprehend little more than those passages of which they had better remain ignorant, and which but too frequently incalculates the first rudiments of vice and gives the first alarm to the still sleeping passions. I wonder if this guy was raised super religious and has some sort of religious trauma. That would be interesting to find out. Antonia is the complete opposite to a fault, kept so naive by everyone to save her innocence that she's childlike in her behavior. That's so true. You know what? I didn't even think about that. And the mom omitting parts of the Bible so she doesn't learn about them. That's actually a really interesting. That's actually really interesting. So I hadn't really thought about Antonia's character, but I thought that it was interesting that she is one of the only people that has a tragic ending. A good person that has a tragic ending in the book. But yeah, maybe there is some comment on that too. Of, you know, maybe like religion as a whole isn't horrible, but raising people on punishment or naivety, maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Do you think that that's more kind of what the writer intended? Morella. No, come on. Get out of there. Come on, dude. Sorry. Baby demons causing a ruckus as per usual. But that's so true. Antonia is very childlike, and anything goes through her mom. I didn't know if that was sort of the time period, because she couldn't be alone with people, and, you know, like I said, everything goes through her mom. So I wasn't sure, but that is true. Compared to the other women in the story, she is very naive and is very dependent on her mom. So that's interesting. So he ends up being asked to her house because Elvira is sick. Antonia's mom. I keep saying Ambrosio. That was another thing that I knew the ending because I don't know. Their names were just well, I guess that's not even a giveaway because that wouldn't even be the name that he was given when he was born. So I anyway. So he ends up getting invited to her house and he's trying to get close to Antonia now since she is naive. And you know what? That also, Nat, that's probably why he's attracted to her because she's sort of a blank slate that he can manipulate. And she has that innocence that he thinks that all women should possess of just, being brainless. Not that she is, but that's his perception of her, I think, is just this like moldable creature that he can manipulate. I think honestly, he's a predator, bro. Or yeah, an introvert for sure. Yeah, yeah. That's true too. That is very true too. Yeah, it's hard to tell what was part of that era. But she was very quick to listen to other people. Like, whatever anybody said, she said, yeah, sure. When Lorenzo wanted to marry her, and Elvira said, well, I think it's best that you don't because, we don't have what you guys have, and people might protest the marriage, attest the marriage. And so she tells Antonia, I think it's better that you don't marry him. And she's like, no, you're right. She almost doesn't have a say in her own life in a lot of ways. Oh yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I have seen, obviously I've seen like little clips of people reading the Bible, and I did see one about children being sold into sex slavery by their parents, which is, yeah, I mean, come on. Come on, dude, come on. Probably not the most appropriate thing to, yeah, we won't even get into religion extremism, but it is rampant nowadays. Holy shit. I saw some posts by people that I know that were religious in nature, but like the most dehumanizing, horrific, awful, horrendous things you could say. And it just makes me like, dude, oh my gosh. The hypocrisy, Okay, where were we? Oh, yeah. Okay, I think we're where. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah, he quitted his prey. He totally is a predator. It says he quitted his prey. Anyways, so he goes to her house because her mother, Elvira, is sick. And she says something like, ever since I saw you. It's not in a pervy way. She's just sort of like, I've wanted to be your friend since I met you. And then he says, can I believe my senses? Repeat it to me, my sweet girl. Tell me again you love me and you love me truly and tenderly. And she's like, yeah, I do. And then he kisses her and she's like, whoa. And you know what? She is sort of naive because even after he kisses her and he's like trying to be pervy and gets kicked out, she still goes to him and finds comfort in him. And the only reason why she doesn't automatically run to him is because her mom told her not to. She is very kind of incapable of making decisions for herself. Anyways, where was I? 229. Get to the point. Get to the point. Okay. So then he goes back to the monastery and he's, Elvira walked in on them and saw that he was kissing her daughter. Obviously, monks aren't supposed to be alone with young girls kissing them, so that's a problem. So he goes back to his little home, his little monk home, and he runs into Matilda, and Matilda says, I saw what you did. And she confesses to him that she has a demon friend that she can resurrect, and she has this little magic mirror, kind of Beauty and the Beast style. That's what I envisioned, where she can look and see what Ambrosio's doing since she's freaking obsessed with him. And she says that she can use this demon to rape Antonia. And the next 100 pages of this book are him and Matilda trying to rape this girl. That's so true too. When her mom died, she was trying to find somebody to take care of her. Yeah. That's so true. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel so bad for her. But maybe there is some commentary in there as well. Yeah, that is kind of a fault, right? Because if you're so, yeah, I don't know. Being a parent sounds like a freaking pain in the ass because you don't want to be too overprotective and you want them to experience some things, but then you obviously want to shield them from the world. It just seems like a nightmare. Especially in times like that, I just think about all the horrific crimes that people probably got away with because unless somebody walked in on you kissing their daughter, look at how long the monk gets away with this shit. So anyway, at first the monk's like, hey, I don't think that we should summon demons. And she says, I think this is when after he says, is this after she tells him? I understand the inquiring look. Your suspicions are right, that your terrors are unfounded. Oh no, he's worried that she's gonna, like you, I shudder at the thought of magic, like you, I fan. Yeah, so she goes on to tell him that she has this demon friend that can help. And he says, I don't, like, that's crazy. I'm a monk. We can't summon demons. And she's like, you're not gonna summon the demon. I'm gonna summon the demon. And he's like, okay. Completely on board. Yeah, 'tis not the crime that which holds your hand, but the punishment. 'Tis not respect for God which restrains you, but the terror of his vengeance. Wait, what is she talking about here? This is interesting. Absurd, but I am not deceived, Ambrosio. It is not virtue. Yeah, it is not virtue which makes you reject my offer. You would accept it, but you dare not. 'Tis not the crime which holds your hand, but the punishment. 'Tis not respect for God which restrains you, but the terror of his vengeance. I think that this is also kind of an interesting commentary too. So maybe it's not even a critique on religion, but it's the critique on how people view religion. If you go into it just being scared into obeying what you're going to do, it doesn't change you as a person. It doesn't make you a better person. Like here, it's not your respect for God that makes you not want to summon a demon. It's your fear of being punished for it. I think this is one of the most important lines in the book, actually. And I think this is... Yeah, what do you guys think? Is it a comment on dangers of religion as a whole, or is it just how religion is used and how people are brought up in religion that maybe the writer is criticizing? Fain would you offend him in secret, but you tremble to profess yourself his foe. Now shame on the coward soul which wants the courage either to be a firm friend or an open enemy. Yeah, that's pretty friggin' telling. She nailed that. That is exactly who he is to his core. So I wrote, he's trying to bend the rules so far before they break. And then I wrote that this is how I view people who use religion to perpetuate their own forms of hatred. Like I said, I have no problem with religion. I'm not criticizing religion at all, but I do think that there are some dangerous people that practice religion that use it to manipulate other people into viewing things through their own eyes, which I don't think which can be dangerous, you know? So I don't know, that's why it's so crazy reading this book from the 1700s and seeing so many parallels through today. And it just makes me, I don't know, it makes me be like, has anything changed? Has anything changed? You know, women are still viewed the same. Religion is still used the same way. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so then so he agrees. Okay, fine. I really want to rape Antonia. So summon your demon. About abuse of religion. Yeah, using it to manipulate to fit your own needs. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's true. Okay, so then they summon the demon. So one of the coolest parts I think about this book, which obviously isn't really true once we get to the ending, but for this part in the story, when other texts summon demons, other horror books or whatever, when you summon a demon, you're kind of a slave to that demon in those books. But this one, it's the opposite. You summon a demon, and they are your slave in this context for right now, until we get to later on in the book. But I thought that was a really cool distinction, because I don't think I've ever read a book where you summon a demon and they're just like your little pet slaves. I thought that was cool. I'm like, oh man, somebody could write a whole book about that, you know, having a little demon slave. Okay, so she summons this demon, immense chamber totally covered with blue trembling fire. She has this, she takes various things from her basket. 3 human fingers, which, like, I mean, don't we all just carry in our purses? I don't know what that is. She threw them into the flames. She took a little sword dagger thing, plunged it into her left arm. The blood gushed out plentifully. He comes! Ambrosio expected the demon with terror. A strain of melodious music sounded in the air. At the same time the cloud disappeared, he beheld a figure more beautiful than Fancy's pencil ever drew. I love the way that shit is written back then. This just sounds, that's such a good line. A figure more beautiful than Fancy's pencil ever drew. It was, where was I? It was a youth seemingly scarce 18, the perfection of whose form and face was unrivaled. He was perfectly naked, a bright star sparkled upon his forehead, 2 crimson wings extended themselves from his shoulder, and his silken locks were confined by a band of many-colored fires, which played around his forehead, formed themselves into a variety of figures, and shone with a brilliance far surpassing that of precious stones. There was a refreshing air breathed perfumes through the cavern. However beautiful the figure, he could not but remark a wildness in the demon's eye and a mysterious melancholy impressed upon his features, betraying the fallen angel and inspiring the spectators with secret awe. Again, I really liked this aspect of the story too. A lot of the time, again, when we read about demons, they're horrific and awful, and I really liked this representation of this beautiful creature that you couldn't take your eyes off of. Obviously, we know that this changes in the story as well, but I thought that was really neat. Yes, the fire is blue and cold and not hot and red like it's typical. Exactly. Matilda goes all out and summons the big boss Lucy. Yeah. Who knew Lucifer could be so hot? Yeah, that's I really liked that representation of, and I, like I said, I don't know anything about the Bible, so I don't know if maybe this is how they're represented in the Bible or if this is this own author's idea. I don't know. But I thought it was really cool, especially because it's different than most of what we read in horror books about demons. I also thought, though, that there's some interesting things in here. For example, Raymond has fallen ill. Oh, my girlfriend is dead. Because he heard that the nuns killed Agnes or whatever. He has this little buddy that rides along with him. I guess he's kind of his, what term would you use? Like a nowadays term? Personal assistant? He's like his personal assistant. I can't remember the kid's name. Oh, Theodore, I think. And so Theodore pretends to be a homeless person, and he gets taken by the nuns and fed and stuff. But I thought this was kind of telling too. Just this one line. They feed him soup, and it says that he was, I think this is, did they separate him and take them in? Yes, he was beckoned to the gates and asked to come in. And it says that he was given soup. The portion of soup of better quality than what was given to the beggars. Even this, I'm thinking like, sure, they're doing a good thing by feeding homeless people, but they're just feeding them probably the soup that's gone bad that nobody else will eat. I don't know. I just saw a lot of different comments in here throughout that I feel like was a critique on, again, not religion, but like specific organized religion and how they treat people, you know? Do you get what I'm saying? Oh, is he? Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, okay. As a beautiful angel before. So then after he becomes a demon, does he turn ugly? That makes perfect sense. Wait, the song. Hold on, let me get to the song. Oh my gosh. And this part was funny too. Theodore's talking to the nuns. And the nuns are like, and he's gone around, he's traveled with Raymond and stuff. And the nuns are like, in Denmark, say you, are not the people all blacks in Denmark? By no means, this is Theodore. They are of a delicate pea green. And then they say, pea green? Oh, it's impossible. And then he says, not at all. Oh, and then this other nun says, not at all. When I was young, I remember seeing several of them myself. I think it's just interesting, the juxtaposition between these nuns that were obviously raised in the convent and this boy who was able to experience the world, and the just sort of perception of the world, the difference of the perception in the world between those two people. I feel like there was so much in this book. Oh yeah, the song. Sorry, I was getting to the song. The Water King song? Depicting the elemental gods and spirits, and he describes Lucifer when talking about the last one. Okay, let me remember this song. Oh, is this the Believe Not Every Handsome Knight and Dance Not with the Water Sprite? Is it that? I forgot that he comes and sings a song. Oh. Oh, right. He's talking about, okay, now I see what you're saying. Yes. So he's going through all these different things. The Water King, the Fire King, the Cloud King. His figure is of beautiful youth, and he is distinguished by 2 large sable wings. Though his outside is so enchanting, he is not a bit better disposed than the others. He is continually employed in raising storms, tearing up forests by the roots, and blowing castles and convents about the ears of their inhabitants. The first has a daughter. Is this one? This one? Who's the queen of elves and fairies. The second has a mother who's a powerful enchantress. Neither of these ladies are worth more than the gentleman. I do not remember to have heard any family assigned to the 2 other demons, but at present I have no business with any of them except for the Fiend of Waters. He's a hero of my ballad, but I thought it necessary before I begin to give you some account of the proceedings. The Water King. Man, I'm gonna have to read this a few times to pick up on everything. Every time we do this and we discuss a book, I end up liking it more at the end. I mean, I still liked it. I still rated it 4 stars, but I think now I give it more than 4 stars. Okay, so he comes and he sings a song trying to get Agnes's attention because she'll recognize his voice. So he sings to these nuns. A nun comes and gives him a note that says, if you want to know who punished her, Agnes, then come save me. And so Lorenzo and Raymond come to the convent with like archers or something to try to find and punish who killed Agnes. Oh, the cloud one and the beautiful wings. Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I like that. I don't know. I really like that description of him. And it would make more sense, too, if you're trying to get someone to make a deal with you or whatever, that you show up to them as this beautiful creature to try to entice them a little bit more. Anyways, what happens next? I don't know. Ambrosio goes to try to rape Antonia with the help of the demon and Matilda. She gives him like a branch or something to set on her pillow so she will sleep soundly while he takes advantage of her. It's fucked up, guys. This book is fucked up. And he feels no pity and no remorse through the whole thing. He goes out of his way. This is freaking premeditated. This guy is a menace. And then he messes it up because Elvira hears him and walks in. And instead of taking accountability or doing anything, he ends up killing Elvira, sorry. And just leaves her on the floor, which is so messed up because then when Ambrosio wakes up, she sees her dead mom on the floor. And the only thing I was thinking was, she's probably thinking, oh my gosh, she was walking to me when she died. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's messed up. He doesn't want to... What is this song? What's happening now? Oh no, yeah, I think this is before. This later argument was perfectly false. He knew not how certain. A moment suffices to make him today the detestation of the world tree. Yesterday was the idol. Okay. I wrote, how many times are the word bosom in this book? I read bosom 3,000 times. I'm like, you guys couldn't think of any other word, any other descriptor. Bosom is in here so much. Okay, and then I wrote how much I loved oh, yes. And then it's at this point where he does feel a little bit of remorse for Agnes. But it's just kind of a comment in passing, and he doesn't do anything about it. So he doesn't care, is the point, you know? Okay, then we have, I know her name's not Jacinta, but I cannot pronounce it the way that they pronounce it. But you have this girl who, so Elvira gets murdered, okay? And then you have their landlady, Jacinta. That's just how I'm gonna pronounce it. Yeah, could you imagine? She was Elvira. Just tits out in the 1700s. Oh gosh. Could you imagine resurrecting Matthew Lewis today in this day and age and having him take a look at the world? I wonder what he would think. Okay, so what's her name? Elvira gets murdered by Ambrosia. No, by Ambrosio. Then Antonia sees her dead mom. Her dead mom's ghost comes to her and says, "You're going to be dead in 3 days." And Antonia is screaming and, you know, talking about how her dead mom has appeared to their landlady, Jacinthia. And Jacinthia runs to the monk. She doesn't know anything that's going on with the monk, right? But this lady is so freaking funny. Does she... Where does she start talking? Because she's just making shit up. Where does she start talking to Ambrosio? Oh yeah, she reads this poem. Okay, and then after... Yeah, so she reads kind of this spooky poem, this Alonzo the Brave and the Fair Imogen. And this was my favorite poem in the whole book. I thought it was so cool. So she reads this spooky poem and goes to bed. So maybe her mom came and told her she would be dead. Maybe she's just having nightmares. I don't know. I feel like that's probably not what the writer intended, but my modern day mind is thinking, oh, she just had nightmares. But her mother did tell her she would die in 3 days, so. Oh yeah, okay, so Cynthia says, "My house is filled with ghosts and dead bodies, and the Lord knows what besides." And so she runs to... she runs to Ambrosio. And she goes on and she's just talking his ear off. She's so freaking funny. The chicken wings got me so bad. Oh yeah, the chicken wings. That would be funny. Okay, so she's telling Ambrosio what happened. She's saying... Okay, does she talk about the chicken wings before this? I don't know if I highlighted that part. Okay, so she's saying that Elvira dies and she buries her with her own money out of the good of her heart. She's probably not going to get paid back for it. And then she says, "And how do you think the lady repays me for my kindness? Why, truly by refusing to sleep quietly in her comfortable deal coffin, as a peaceable, well-disposed spirit ought to do, and come to plague me, who never wished to set eyes on her again." Oh gosh. She goes racketing about my house at midnight, popping into her daughter's room through the keyhole and frightening the poor child out of her wits. Though she be a ghost, she might be as civil than to bolt into a person's house who likes her company so little. And then she's going on and on. Okay, let me try to find the chicken part, because that part is so funny. Do you have it highlighted? Do you know what page it is? And then Cynthia's like, "Let me die, but your sanctity is right." Okay, blah, blah, blah. "The lodger of mine is dead. A very good sort of woman, I must say, as for my knowledge. Maybe it was here. Given she's again a part of a high robe, so I suspected her look." Man, where does it say? Oh, here we go. Okay, it says, so she's like, she's a good woman. She's well behaved. It's all good. However, there was one time where she was eating on a Friday. For my part, I never saw her do amiss, except on the Friday before her death. To be sure, I was then scandalized by seeing her eat the wing of a chicken. And then so she's talking to Flora, which is, again, kind of like the little, I don't know what you call them, like little maids or whatever. She says, Flora, does your mistress eat flesh upon Fridays? Apparently this was a thing that you didn't do. And then it says, see the event then. Oh, but it was also, I do remember reading the footnotes about it. You shouldn't eat meat on Fridays in this time, but it was questioned whether chicken was meat, which I don't know why. Why would chicken not be meat? But anyway, and Flora, who is somewhat told me that there was no harm in eating a chicken than an egg from which it came. Nay, she declared that if her lady added a slice of bacon, she would not be an inch near damnation. Damn, protect us, a poor, ignorant, sinful soul. I protest to your holiness. I tremble to hear her utter such blasphemies and expect every movement. Okay, so anyway, so she's talking about how, oh, she's a great lady. Oh, but you know what? Before her death, I did see her eating chicken. Allow accessory to connect. Do you want to connect? I don't know. One moment, if you can't see me. I don't know what this means. I don't know what's... Oh. Charger this Mac. Wait, what if I just hit allow? Oh, I don't know what I did. Uh-oh. Dang it. What did I do? Love, I messed it up. I'm not sure if it's still live yet, but it said, do you want to connect, allow Sony to connect? And I hit allow, and now it's just black, and I don't know what I did. What did I do?
What you did.
But I don't want it on that one. I want it on that one. Yeah. I'm trying to see if it's still... I can't tell if I'm live still or if it paused it. Yeah, no. Oh, wait, no. Oh, you're trying to connect to my... Oh!
That's your webcam. This thing's off.
Is it the battery or... Am I still live? Can you guys still hear me? Oh. Wait, it's on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what it said. Allow accessory to connect. Do you
Yes.
want to connect Sony?
Yes.
That's what I hit. Yeah, you're on... No, not that one.
Hold on.
Okay. No, you're on my iPhone. I didn't know you could go live from an iPhone. Oh, I know why it's green. It's covered by this. Oh, okay, now I get it. Okay, sorry, one second. I think it's still working, but just...
I think it's overheated. Okay.
Do we have to turn it off? I can use this camera, it's just not... Oh. You got it! Yeah!
And we're live.
Thank you! Are we back, guys? Is it working? Can you hear and see me? That was crazy. I didn't know he switched it to my phone. I didn't even know that was possible. Okay, sorry. My camera overheats and just turns off. Anyway, I don't even know where we were now. So yeah, she's blaming the chicken wings. That's right. That's right. And then she says, "Oh, that chicken's wing, my poor soul suffers for it." Anyway, this girl is hilarious, and I would read an entire book of Hacintha, whatever her name is. Okay. Then Matilda goes, "All right, you messed that up, but I have another idea on how you can take advantage of her. You can give her this poison and she'll seem dead, and then you can bring her to this dungeon and then you can rape her." I'm telling you. At this point, I'm like, oh, Matilda is the embodiment of evil, you know? And the monk obviously is evil for going along with it too. I'm not blaming her more than him, but at this point in the book, I was just thinking, man, this lady's evil. So he does that. He poisons her. She's said to be dead, and he brings her to the dungeon. I wish I took better notes, because I have no idea why I highlighted this or what I wrote in here. But I don't even know what this is about. Oh, you know what? This is, was this Lorenzo talking? I think so. Every heart but Lorenzo's. He had long observed with disprobation and contempt the superstition which governed Madrid's inhabitants. His good sense has pointed out to him the artifacts of the monks and the gross absurdity of their miracles, wonders, and superstitious relics. He blushed to see his countrymen the dupes of deception so ridiculous, and only wished for the opportunity to free them from the monkish fetters. He resolved not to let it slip, but set before the people in glaring colors how enormous were the abuses but too frequently practiced in monasteries, and how unjustly public esteem was bestowed indiscriminately upon all those who wore a religious habit. He longed for a moment destined to unmask the hypocrisies and convince his countrymen that a sanctified exterior does not always hide a virtuous heart. My gosh, do you know how many people need to read this nowadays? Yeah, I think that's also one of the most important lines in the whole book too. And I think, like we were saying, it's not about religion as a whole. It's not criticizing being religious or having a god or whatever. It's criticizing indiscriminately uplifting people regardless of their actions just because they are a part of a religion. So yeah, I think that's one of the most important parts of the book. 306. Okay, guys. This next part, I'm telling you, every time I think the book is done being crazier, it gets even more crazier. So then Lorenzo and Raymond go to try to find out who killed Agnes, right? They find the woman who wrote the letter that gave the letter to Theodore. Theodore gave the letter to the people, and the people that came with their archers, okay? So now they're with the nuns, and they're having like a whole, I don't know, like parade kind of thing where all the nuns are walking out, and they see the nun that wrote the letter, and then she's like, they did it, they killed Agnes, here's everything that happened. And instead of, I don't know, arresting her or taking her to court, they rip her apart weapon style. It says, they stifled with howls, dragged her through the streets, spurring her, trampling her, and treating her with every species of cruelty with which hate or vindication fury could invent. Blah, 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 blah. They beat it, trod upon it, and ill-used it till it became no more than a mass of flesh, unsightly, shapeless, and disgusting. I mean... yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. They just rip apart a nun, rip her to pieces. What did you guys think about this part? Because obviously on some length, on some end, you're like, okay, well, I don't know. Does the crime fit the punishment? I don't know. I just don't know. Yes. Yes, they really did. They really did. But I don't know, because on one end, I'm like, well, life for a life, you know? But then I'm like, yeah, but you can't do that, especially without being persecuted and having a fair trial. I don't know. How did you guys feel about that? Were you just like, well, it is what it is. She's an evil lady. Or were you like, that's a little much? I don't know. There's a lot of moral questions throughout this story. But I was like, damn, that's crazy. People taking things into their own hands. And also, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it also has to do with the shock of people that somebody like a nun would do something like this. So maybe that's why the extreme reaction. But I thought, dang, that's crazy. And that kind of reminded me of nowadays too, less so, you know, ripping a nun apart in the streets, but more so that if somebody's criticized online, it's just a bandwagon and everyone jumps on without kind of hearing both sides of the story. Not that I think that this is exactly the same, because this woman is horrible and definitely deserves to pay for her crimes, but I don't know, maybe not in a ripped apart in the streets kind of way. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, she probably, I mean, she would have been found guilty. There, we know that as the reader, but I'm just thinking more of a person in the street. I guess my point is like it's a scary thing to think of that one person can point to another person and say, you did this, and then everybody attacks, which we find out that it wasn't even what happened. It was kind of worse, honestly, but she didn't kill Agnes. So she still deserved it though. Well, I mean, we'll get to that. But anyway, but yeah, I was just thinking about how scary something like that, like the idea of somebody being able to point to you and just saying something happened. We as the reader know that it happened and that she deserved what she got, but the people in that mob, they didn't know that. So I don't know, that was just a scary thought to me. And I think about, not with this particular instance, but typically there are two sides to each story, and it's scary to only hear one side and act on that. But yeah, they freaking tore that bitch to shreds. I was like, holy crap. Okay, anyway. So then the freaking convent gets set on fire. People are going crazy. There's a mob outside. And Raymond, Lorenzo go into it's like a crypt, right? And they end up finding this statue, which again, I'm sure this has some sort of religious commentary that I don't know about, but they find some statue, and it opens up and there's a grate and it leads down into these tunnels. And in one of the tunnels, they find Agnes, and she is alive. However, she has given birth to her baby, and her baby has perished. And oh my gosh, you guys, the shit that nun says about the baby, actually, maybe she did deserve what she got. Maybe I take back. Maybe I take back everything I just said. That's true. She probably would have been burned alive, so I don't know how. I guess I'm seeing it in through the lens of today. You know what I mean? But I'm just thinking of what she says about the baby, actually. Like, who are these people talking? Oh, this was Agnes when she's stuck in there. And she sits, so when Agnes is stuck in the dungeon, she says, and they are God's servants who make me suffer thus. It shall convince the world how dreadful are the abodes so falsely termed religious. So yeah, a lot of commentary on religion in here, you know? Okay, so... The grave was slightly fast open. What is this? By the side of three putrid, half-corrupted bodies lay the Sleeping Beauty. I mean, I just, the whole, everything, the last half of the book, stuff kept happening, and I just kept going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Sorry, I'm trying to see which part I highlighted, which part I made a note about. Oh yeah, I wrote that. I just wrote what the fuck, because he's talking. He sees so Ambrosio has Antonia in the crypt, right? She's by a bunch of dead bodies and she's sleeping like a beautiful, perfect little angel, just like he likes. And he says, scarcely could he command his passion sufficiently to restrain himself from enjoying her, yet insensible. He could barely keep it in his pants while she wasn't even awake. This man is just... And then here Matilda says that my person has become indifferent to you. 'Tis necessity, not love, which makes me seek your enjoyment, which we find out in a minute why that is. Here, nothing but graves and tombs and skeletons. This place frightens me. Take me away from it. So Antonia wakes up and she's like, why am I here? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna rape you. And she's like, wait, what? And he does. And he does. And he does. Oh, this is the part. So he does, and then it says that the very excess of his former eagerness to possess Antonia now contributed to inspire him with disgust, with a secret impulse made him feel how base and unmanly was the crime which he had just committed. So this is what I was talking about, where I think that there's some comments where the author was just ahead of his time on how he felt about women. Like this crime being unmanly, I was just like, fuck yeah. Matthew Lewis knew what was up. Because I feel like a lot of time throughout history, obviously, women were treated as just less than. And so I really liked comments like that throughout the story. I'm like, this guy really was... He was cool. I'd hang out with him. Then, you know, at this point, Ambrosio could come to his senses and be like, okay, I've murdered, I've raped, I've gone against every oath that I've ever taken. Maybe I'm the problem. But he says, fatal witch, was it not thy beauty? Have you not plunged my soul into infamy? Have you not made me a perjured hypocrite, a ravisher, an assassin? 'Tis you who will cause my eternal anguish, you wretched girl, you. Of course, it's not his fault. Why would it ever be his fault? This is what I'm saying. This guy is such a fucking loser. Then he decides that he'll just keep her prisoner. But she makes a run for it when she hears Lorenzo and Raymond coming. Matilda offers to kill her, and at first Ambrosio stops her and says, what would you do, cruel woman? The unfortunate has already suffered but too much, thanks to your counsels. Would to God that I have never followed them. Would to God that I had never seen your face. So again, there is not one time where he takes just an ounce of responsibility for anything that he's done. So whatever. He stops Matilda from killing her. Antonia runs out, but then he follows her and tries to stop her from getting to people because, again, the only thing he's worried about is his reputation. And he ends up sticking a dagger into Antonia's chest twice, I think, and killing her. Is it a movie? Oh my gosh, I can't imagine this as a movie. I'll have to look that up. Have you seen it? Okay, where are we? It talks also a little bit about how the nuns that were with the head mistress lady who kept Agnes in a dungeon, a lot of them, after the Covenant burnt down. Covenant, isn't that witches? Anyway, after they burned down, they were set off and accepted into other places and stuff. Some of them not. But it said that the ones with riches, birth, and power were received by other people, though they did so with very ill grace. This prejudice was extremely false and unjustifiable. So there's just a lot of quotes in here where I'm just like, thank you, Matthew Lewis. Yes, women aren't just objects. Yes, just because you're religious, you're not a good person. And yes, just because you're rich, you shouldn't have opportunities, you know, that other people don't, if you're a horrible person. So there's a lot that I agreed with this guy on. Oh, okay. Well, as soon as you said French film, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Oh, yeah. Oh, and then this is a quote. The footnote, It says that it's misquoted, but anyway, it says, men have died and worms have ate them, but not for love. I wrote, how romantic. Absolutely how romantic. Okay, so Antonia dies, and I mean, a horrific death. She's this close to the man that she loves and wanted to marry. Gets murdered. She dies in Lorenzo's arms, but it's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. She was so close to getting out of there. But again, Ambrosio's ego stopped her from doing that. So anyways, they catch the monk in the act. He gets arrested, he's like in a dungeon or in prison or whatever. Agnes makes it out. Her baby perishes. Then they meet this other nun who's like super hot and she wants to marry Lorenzo, but Lorenzo's like, my girlfriend just died. Can you give me a minute? And so then they ask Agnes how she survived, and she goes on this whole story about how she ended up surviving. And then here's a description, dude. I think this is after her baby passes away, right? Yeah, I grasped it and advanced toward the light. Almighty God, what my disgust, my consternation. In spite of its putridity and the worms which preyed upon it, I perceived a corrupted human head. Okay, this isn't. And recognized the features of the nun who had died months before. Okay, that's not the baby. That's just a dead nun. That's right. She wakes up I think in a coffin, no? Maybe not. Maybe in just a tomb. But anyway, yeah, there's a dead nun's head, which I'm not really sure why there's only a head, but yeah, whatever. It is what it is. And then she was talking about how she was stuck in here. At first she was being fed water and bread, but then she hadn't for 3 days because the person that was in charge of taking care of her was sick in bed and nobody thought to give her food or water, so she's been starving to death. She talks about how she begged to be released, and the head nun said, "What dare you plead for the product?" Oh, she says, "Fine, lock me up, but like, what about my baby? My baby has committed no fault. Spare my unborn offspring." And then the nun says, "What dare you plead for the product of your shame? Shall a creature be permitted to live conceived in guilt so monstrous? Abandoned woman, speak for him no more. Better this wretch should perish than live, begotten in perjury, incontinence, and pollution. It cannot fail to prove a prodigy of vice. Feed it yourself, nurse it yourself, bury it yourself. God grant the latter may happen soon, lest you receive comfort from the fruit of your iniquity. Sorry. This nun. What a bitch. Okay, so anyway, she doesn't die. She's just stuck there. That's what she says. Oh, that's what it says. Often have I, at waking, found my fingers ringed with the long worms which bred in the corrupted flesh of my infant. Ugh! This book is nasty. Oh yeah, that makes sense. There were a lot of changes to this book made after it was published. Okay, so we hear Agnes's story, how she survived. Lorenzo, he's sad and mourning Antonia, but eventually is into the other hot nun. Okay, so then we're back to Ambrosio. Holy shit. He gets kept in prison and he gets tortured. Who gives a shit? Let's see here. She tells him Matilda ends up escaping her prison, And Ambrosio asked how she did it, and she said, if you just give up your God, if you just give your soul to Satan, he can help you get out of here. And at first he says, no. He says, what price gave you for liberty? She says, Ambrosio, it was my soul. Hell is your, and then he says, hell is your lot. You're doomed to eternal perdition. Not lies beyond your grave, but a gulf of devouring flames. And then he says, but you can help me, you can open the door. And she says, I am forbidden to assist a churchman and a partisan of God. Renounce these titles and command me. And he's like, nope. It also says with the Grand Inquisitor that he replied as before, having no crimes, he could acknowledge none. He wouldn't even admit to what he had done. Anyway, okay, so she gives him one last chance she gives him a spell book, and she's like, if you change your mind and you want to summon a demon before they're about to be put to death by being burned alive, which just sounds so fun, right? So she gives him a chance to summon a demon so he won't have to do that. So he summons the demon, Lucifer again. It says, he appeared in all the ugliness which since his fall from heaven had been his portion. His blasted limbs still bore marks of the Almighty's thunder. A swarthy darkness spread itself over his gigantic form. His hands and feet were were armed with long talons. Fury glared in his eye, blah, blah, blah. Over his huge shoulders waved two enormous sable wings. His hair was supplied by living snakes, which twined themselves around his brow with frightening hissing. In one hand he held a parchment, and the other an iron pen. Still the lighting flashed about him, the thunder repeated, blah, blah, blah. So he summons this demon, and Ambrosio's like, you're not the demon from before, you're not that hot guy. And the demon's like, hey bro, just sell me your soul, no big deal. Just be my slave forever, it's all good. And the demon actually says some interesting things too. He says, the Eternal has abandoned you. Mine you are marked in the book of destiny, and mine you must and shall be. I couldn't tell if the demon was manipulating him. I mean, obviously he's manipulating him. But when he says stuff like this, I couldn't tell if the demon knew that eventually his soul would be his, or if he's just trying to get Ambrosio to sign. And he says one other thing too later on in the book where I'm like, is that true, or is he just lying? He heard death and torture room. Oh yeah. Okay, so at first he sends the demon back. He's like, no, I can't do it. I'm a servant of God, whatever. So the demon's like, okay, and leaves. And then the people come. It's midnight. They come to burn him alive. And he can't let that happen. So he calls the demon again. Sorry, I feel like I've been talking for freaking ever. Okay, so he calls the demon a second time, and the demon again is trying to get him to sign over his soul. And then so he can get out of the dungeon. That's the agreement. Sorry, I highlighted a lot in these last few pages, so I'm just trying to see what is important. I watched movements of your heart. I saw that you were virtuous from vanity, not principle. Oh, wait, no. So this is after he already signs, no? Or is he... Hold on. Did he sign yet? The sorcerer had been carried away by the devil. Oh, okay. So eventually they're taking him away, and they're going to take him away to burn him. And then he's like, fuck it. I can't be burned alive. So he ends up summoning the demon again and then signing over his soul. And the sorcerer was carried away by the devil. So the devil takes him away. and he ends up on these mountains. Oh, that's what he was saying. Okay. Yeah, and then the demon says, sorry, this is a long-ass book club. There's just a lot to talk about in this book. He says, I have him in my power, this model of piety, this being with reproach. This mortal who has his puny virtues on a level with those of angels, he is mine, irrevocably, eternally mine. Companions of my suffering, denizens of hell, how grateful will be my present. Okay, so then he says, I saw that you were virtuous with vanity, not with principle, and I seized the fit of moment of seduction. So Ambrosio gets to these mountains. He's like, what the heck? Where's Matilda? I thought I was going to be connected with her. And then he comes and says, I bade a subordinate but crafty spirit assume a similar form, and you eagerly yielded to the blandishments of Matilda. It was I who threw Matilda your way. It was I who gave you entrance to Antonia's chamber. It was I who caused the dagger to be given to you, which pierced your sister's bosom. Oh, by the way, at this time it's revealed that Ambrosio and Antonia are brother and sister. And so Elvira is his mom. So he murdered his own mother and then raped his own sister. It was I who warned Elvira in dreams of your design upon her daughter, and thus by preventing your profiting, compelled to you to add her rape as well as incest to the catalog of your crimes. Had you resisted me for one moment longer, you had saved your body and soul. The guards whom you heard at the prison door came to signify your pardon. This is the part where I was like, is that true? Or is this just psychological warfare that the demon causes him to think about this for all of eternity, you know? It says that, for your pardon, but I had already triumphed. My plots had already succeeded. Scarcely should I propose crimes so quick as you performed them. You are mine, and heaven itself cannot rescue you from my power. Hope not that your penitence will make void our contract. Here your bond is signed with blood. You have given up your claim to mercy, and nothing can restore your rights, to which you have foolishly resigned. So the devil, Lucifer, saw the monk, knew that he wasn't actually a man of God, put Matilda... I don't know if that means that Matilda is an actual demon, or if he took the form of a demon. It was I who threw Matilda in your way. I don't know. But crafty spirit assume a similar form, and you eagerly yielded to the blandishments of Matilda. So I don't know. I'm not sure if it's another demon or what, but makes sense that she was such a cunt the whole time and just the embodiment of evil. So anyway, everything was this devil's, Lucifer's. He was, the puppet pulling the puppet strings, but it was the monk's inability to have faith, true faith, and be a decent person that stopped him. And then the monk asks him, well, what the hell? You said that you would get me out of there. Like, why am I on this mountain? And then he's like, we signed a contract. And the demon says, our contract, have I not performed my part? What more did I promise you than to save you from your prison? Have I not done so? Are you not safe from the Inquisition? Safe from all but me? Fool that you were to confide yourself to the devil. Why did you stipulate for life, power, and pleasure? Why did you not stipulate for life, power, and pleasure? Then all would have been granted. Now your reflections come too late. Prepare for death. You have but hours to live. So then the demon picks him up, darting his talons into the monk's shaven crown. He sprung with him from the rocks. The cave and mountains rang with Ambrosio's shrieks. The demon continued to soar till reaching a dreadful height. He released the sufferer. Headlong fell the monk through the airy waste. The sharp point of rocks received him, and he rolled from precipice to precipice till bruised and mangled he rested on the river's banks. And then I won't read the last paragraph because it's long, but basically it says that for 6 miserable days the villain languished, and then on the 7th day he died. A storm rose. Carried them to the river. Yeah, I like that they use the word course instead of corpse, like CORSE, and also jailer was with a G instead of a J. Anyway, what the fuck? Okay, that's what I thought too. Oh my gosh, my freaking camera. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, I'm just gonna do this. Hold on. How do I... How did he do that? Oh, here we go. iPhone desk. Is this it? Okay. Oh, that's very close. Sorry, this is my computer camera. So hopefully it's working. Hold on. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to use this because my camera keeps shutting off. Just for the last few minutes that we wrap this up. Moral of the story, read through your contract properly. Yeah, that's very true. Because, yeah, that's exactly what the demon did. He said, I'll save you from this jail. You just have to sell your soul to me. No big deal. But I was thinking... Yeah, no, I got you. Toss salads and scrambled egg. I got you. I was thinking, though, the fear of that moment and hearing somebody knowing that you'll be brought to death. I mean, I'm not saying I would sell my soul or anything, but I can picture how fearful somebody would be in that situation. But I guess my question is, do you think that if Ambrosio made the decision to be put to death by like being burned to death, would you have felt differently about his character? Or I guess, like, would that have signified to you that he had learned his lesson and wanted to take responsibility for something? Or do you think that... I don't know, because I was thinking either way, I'm like, that's a fucked up ending to a story, but I don't know if I would have felt satisfied with him getting put to death either. Certainly not if he was pardoned, you know? I guess, how did you feel about the ending? Yeah, maybe get a lawyer involved. Maybe that's the... Maybe that's the moral of the story. Get a lawyer before you make a deal with Lucifer. But I don't know. Because I was thinking, what would I rather him do in that moment where he was thinking about signing the deal with the devil? I'm like, would I rather him just get put to death? Because I don't think that he would be forgiven for his sins the way that he just assumed he would be. But I don't know. I don't know anything about religion. But I don't know. At least I feel like if he was put to death, that would be him sort of taking responsibility or not blaming people other than himself. I don't know. Did you guys like the ending? It was a good book. I really liked this book. I think I'm going to rate it higher than a 4-star. Because there's actually a lot in here. I really enjoyed this. Oh, you know what? There's an introduction too that I didn't even read. I probably should have read that. It says the writer was commonly referred to as Monk Lewis. You refer to him as the shittiest character in the book. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good ass book, man. That is a good book. So what do you think? Rating wise, ending wise, Who is your favorite character? Who's your least favorite character? Yeah, it's on a lot of disturbing horror lists. That's where I found it, and I know why now. I know why now. And the first, I think I said this earlier, the first half of the book, I'm like, this isn't really that messed up. And then I get to the second half, I'm like, holy, now I get it. God is supposed to forgive if you ask for forgiveness, but does he see through if you actually are asking for forgiveness because you are sorry? Or does he just accept any old, like, oh, sorry? Yeah, that's true. And he even says when he summons the demon the first time, I think he says that, oh, well, if I go to heaven, I'll be forgiven. And it's like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know about all that. I think it's worth it. I really enjoyed it. What did you guys rate it? Okay, I'll write that one down. I haven't read that one. Another one came up that was supposed to be a sort of criticism to the monk, and I can't. It's a really popular writer, but I can't think of the writer's name. Probably if I just Google author who criticized the monk. It's 100 people. Okay, that doesn't really help. Man, I'm never going to be able to find it. Come on, Google. Anne Radcliffe, The Italian. It's the counter approach. Disturbed by graphic violence, explicit sexuality, and genuine supernatural horror in Lucis the Monk, Radcliffe wrote The Italian as a direct artistic reaction. And I think it's supposed to be a happier sort of gothic thing. But I'm just kind of interested in reading it to see how differently it is than The Monk. A lot of people... It's funny because a lot of people criticized this novel, obviously, when it first came out. And it was popular because of how... I keep looking at the camera. I keep forgetting the camera's off. It was popular because it was disturbing and earned a name for itself, but a lot of people did criticize it. And it's so funny reading it because I feel like it's the same thing with people nowadays when they criticize horror and just say, oh, it's blood and guts, but there's some actual real meaning behind it if you care to take a look, you know? Four stars, yeah. That's what I rated it too, but after discussing it and thinking about it, I think it's a little bit higher for me. Have you read it yet, The Italian? I'm just more interested in... That's funny, that's not highly rated, and it's her criticism of another piece. Yay! Okay, now I was not worried. I thought that you would like it, but I was like, oh man, I hope Nat loves this book because you've been wanting to read it for so long. Oh my gosh, you guys, I talked so long my freaking camera died. I'm sorry to talk your ear off for 3 hours. No. Yeah, 3 hours. This is the longest book club I think we've ever done. Okay. What Anne Rice books would you guys like to add to the list for next month's book club? Let's see if she has any just short ones. She's got a few, but even if it's a long one, we can even take longer than a month to read it. It doesn't, we don't have to rush through it, you know? But now I'm so glad you liked it. I really liked it too. It wasn't at all what I expected, especially because the cover, you know, is a guy being held by a demon. And, you know, for most of the book, there's very little even mention of demons. But then once it got to the end, I'm like, this is good. This is good. Yeah, totally fair. Totally fair, especially reading it through the lens of right now. I knew this book would not be for everybody, you know? It takes a while to get there, but I think it's worth the read. I know. That's one of the bad things about book club. I told you guys on Patreon, the Joyce Carol Oates book, I want to read it so bad, but I keep putting it off because I'm like, watch it be picked for book club, and then I have to read it again. Hello! What's Gabriel's Inferno? The monk. We just keep adding it and reading it over and over again. I should add it to the list just for fun. Okay. So what's the title? The Sleeping Beauty trilogy. What's the first book? Okay, Feast of All Saints. I'll come with you in a minute. I'm almost done. I talked their ear off so much my camera stopped working. But I'll be done in a minute. I'll go with you. Okay, any other Anne Rice books? I really want to put that Midnight Hour book because I'd love to finish it, but it is like 1,000 pages. Is that too much? But it also would be a good book to get in the spirit of Halloween. Servant of the Bones. It can be a long book too. It's anything. Oh, Dante's Inferno, yeah. And by the way, guys, can I tell you how cool having a library card is? I just got one for the first time since I was a kid. I didn't know you can get books. I mean, it might be dependent on the state and country that you live in, obviously. But I didn't know you could get books sent to your Kindle from the library. So I'm renting books from the library in my house. I don't have to go anywhere. How cool is that? And you can get audiobooks too. I mean, I guess, yeah, those you don't even have to go in to the library either. But I've rented 2 books and returned 2 books so far, and then I rented 1 other book, and then I got another book from my little public library. I've saved so much money this month having 1 library card. Highly recommend. Oh yeah, okay, so what was the... The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty, is that what it is? Beauty? What was the question? Yeah, I have read Dante's Inferno. I should actually go... That actually is a good follow-up book to this. Yes. I do have a Goodreads. I don't know how to... Can you just search names on Goodreads, or do you have to have a link? I don't know. Goodreads is kind of weird, huh? I don't know if you could just search a name on there. But yes, I do have Goodreads. Interview with a Vampire. Is that... I'm not trying to offend anybody. Is Interview with a Vampire better than the movie? Libraries are so cool. I can't believe it took me so long to get a card. Yes, I have Libby and I have the I have two different ones. Okay, will you guys kill me if I put the midnight hour or whatever? Midnight. No. Is it called the midnight hour? What's it called? The witching hour. Will you guys kill me if I put that one? We can still have a meeting next month even if we don't have book club. Maybe we could do reading sprints for book club or something like that. But I know this one's, it's 1,000 pages. It's over 1,000 pages. Would you guys kill me if I put that one? Let me see if I could find... Maybe I could find it. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's my Goodreads. Yeah, you'll blame me anyway. I'll pick The Witching Hour. Everyone will hate me for reading a 1,000-page book. And yes, it will be Richard's fault. The King of Yellow. Okay. And are you guys cool with Anne Rice? You guys cool with the category? Because I know last time people were disappointed with one of the categories. I think it was the Dean Koontz one. And I said, we can spin the wheel again. And you guys said, no, we hail the wheel. Whatever the wheel tells us, we must read. So it's up to you. Okay, we'll keep it. I'll see, no problem. I'll see, if anybody else has any suggestions on Instagram. So I have Feast of All Saints, Servant of the Bones, The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty, Interview with a Vampire, The Witching Hour, The King of Yellow. It can be a longer book too. We can just take time to read it. But I do think The Witching Hour. Let me see if we listen to it on Audible. Let me see how long that would take. I think it would be very long. The Witching Hour. $50 hours and 2 minutes. Holy. 50 hours. That's nuts. That is a lot, but like we could do 2 months and that's... No, I'm fine with it. Oh yeah, no, you did the Dean Koontz category too. Honestly, I don't hate Dean Koontz. I just didn't like that book that we read. Okay, cool. We'll keep it. We'll keep it. I just finished Where the Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. Finally read one of her books. And I got that one from the library. So it was free. And I returned that one last night. Oh, no. I just started Brian, sometimes I get a few books and I don't know, I keep looking at the camera. I keep getting like when I don't know what to read, I keep getting a few books that I don't know which one to pick between, and then I bring them to Brian and Brian picks a book. So he just picked the second book in the Martini Club, another Tess Gerritsen book. So I just started that one last night, but I'm like 10 pages in. Oh, The King in Yellow is not Anne Rice? Okay. Sorry. You were just saying like it's a good collection. Which one? Oh, which book? Are you so tired? My dog's passed out. Thank you for coming. As always, I will let you know what 6 books get picked. Maybe we'll only honestly have 6. That'll be interesting. And then Patreon will vote on which one actually gets read. Oh, the Dean Koontz. Yeah. Yeah, Intensity. Yeah, I did give that. You know what? I did give that to my little library, and I think someone took it. And someone took a few of the other books that I read. I went back and looked, and they had a Bret Easton Ellis book. So I took that one. I'm like, oh, people are putting good books in here now. All right, guys. Well, I think I am off to take my dogs out. I think I have sufficiently talked your ear off enough about The Monk. Rating, I think I rated it above maybe like a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. I liked the commentary. And I think it was really ahead of its time in a lot of categories, so I rather enjoyed it. I liked the ending. It was good. It was real good. Yeah, so down. Let me see. I'll add it. I'll make a note and then add it after because I don't want to mess up. That's actually a good category. Kooky horror books. I like it. Yeah, maybe it'll end up in there again. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm sorry that I talked so long, but I did really appreciate this read. And I'm excited to see what we end up reading next. Some spooky Anne Rice to get ready for Halloween. But I appreciate you guys for hanging out. And I will talk to you guys soon. We'll also have our we'll have a House of Leaves live stream next month, probably toward the end of the month, because honestly, The Monk took up a lot of my brain power this month, so I haven't even touched House of Leaves. So probably toward the end of next month, we'll have House of Leaves. And then if we pick a longer book, then we'll have like a reading live stream or something before we take on a larger book. And if it's small, then we'll just do it in a month. Sound good? Thanks, guys, for hanging out. And I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.